Good evening, race fans, and welcome to another edition of the Let's Go Racing Motorsports Report. I am Mike Babicz, your host and the voice of the Wilmot Raceway and other area racing from time to time. And you'll find out in a little bit here why I'm dressed like this. But we want to thank the folks that help get us on the air each and every week. Of course, Hartnell Chevrolet, John Hatterline, attorney at law, Force One Performance, and B&L Office Furniture and American Tire and Truck Repair. Of course, B&L Office Furniture providing our in-studio setup here, I guess is what you would call it. Our good friends from Great Lakes Dragaway will have an update from John in just a little bit, and Great Lakes Dragaway is still underway, I believe, at least for another week or so, as long as Mother Nature cooperates. Steve Sinclair and the Interstate Racing Association, they have a couple of different banquets coming up. November 23rd is their big banquet. And then on December 6th is the IRA Lightning Sprints banquet. Wilmot Raceway is going to have its banquet coming up on January the 4th. So a lot of banquets getting underway. Also, our good friends from Fox Lake Harbor, the Hunt Club of Richmond, Midwest Motor Coach and Olson Transportation, MLS Auto Clinic, Eddie and Debbie Boyd, Bodycraft, Mark and Tony Maglio, Waukegan Harbor Marina, and the Greentown on the Rocks. Yes, we will be having another Let's Go Racing Motorsports show and custom car show presented by Larry Roebuck. It's going to be coming up in early May. Stay tuned for an exact date, but we're planning on it right now for a Sunday afternoon in May. And again, of course, we want to thank Impressions Count and Randy, Weeby Waxon, Chad. They can store your vehicle, your boat, or your custom car, or your race car after they clean it up for you. Buddies of McHenry, Culvers of Paddock Lake, A-Main Apparel and Diecast. Also, Northern Illinois Council on Alcoholism and Substance Abuse, Stars and Stripes Honor Flight. 5-Star Race Car Bodies, Daniel Sanchez, Carl and Corey Schultz can put you to work if you'd like to find out more about what it's like to work in the world of auto racing. 5-Star Race Car Bodies, they can help you out. Nielsen Enterprises of Lake Villa, Cabins on the Lake. If you want a fall or winter getaway, contact Patty and Eddie at Cabins on the Lake up there in Friendship, Wisconsin. Lake County Hose and Equipment, and RC Electronics. And we're going to start off. We want to remind you about something that's going to be coming up this Saturday on the 2nd of November, the Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame induction. Jimmy Fenning, the late Scott Hansen, Nathan Haslew, Matt Kenseth, and the late Pat Schauer are all going to be inducted this Saturday night. And I believe on the microphone up there will be Eric Miller, the voice of Road America, and I believe Dean Strom is going to be working along with him. And tickets are still available. You can go to the Southeast Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame website and click on the ticket link, and they'll take care of you. Doors are going to open at 2:30 in the afternoon. Ceremony at 6 o'clock. It's a great event. Kathy and I are looking forward to going up to it. And that'll be this coming Saturday up there in Hartford, Wisconsin, which is where the Hall of Fame is located. And speaking of Dean Strom and Jim Trado, Kathy and I got to hear both of them on the public address microphones down at Homestead in Miami this last weekend. and we just had a great time down there, and giving you a quick update on that event. Scoring the victory, if you haven't had a chance yet to see the replay of the last lap, see it. Tyler Reddick scoring the win. And again, that's for one of his car owners, of course, is Michael Jordan. A last lap win. Unbelievable. Finishing in second spot was Ryan Blaney. Third spot going to Denny Hamlin. Fourth spot went to Christopher Bell. And fifth, coming back after a flat tire very early in the event, and then trying to take the lead, ended up in a tangle, not too many laps from the finish. Kyle Larson finished up in fifth spot. And taking a look at the points now going into the final qualifier at Martinsville this coming Sunday, Tyler Reddick is locked into the final four. That'll head to Phoenix in 2 weeks. Joey Logano also locked into the final four. Christopher Bell is currently third, 29 points above the cut line. Fourth is William Byron, 7 points above the cut line. In fifth spot, 7 points below the cut line, is Kyle Larson. Sixth is Denny Hamlin, 18 points back of the cut line. Seventh is Ryan Blaney. He's 38 points behind the cut line. And eighth, the final one in the final eight, Chase Elliott, he is 43 points in back of the cut line. So it's going to be interesting to see what all happens this coming weekend at Martinsville. And just a lot, it is always really neat to see how NASCAR drivers and personalities make themselves available at the racetrack on the day of the race. And we got to see a lot of different drivers. We got to see Ty Gibbs. We got to see Martin Truex Jr., Larson, Kyle Busch, and just a host of others. There was a lot of folks that we got to see and listen to. And we also want to give a shout out, because he did do some talking about the future of Homestead, is the current president of Homestead, Guillermo Santa Cruz. I hope I didn't butcher his name. Just a very personable gentleman. Spent a lot of time with everybody in the NASCAR fan zone. He was the last speaker of the morning, and he has not given up on Homestead being the championship venue where the final race for NASCAR's Cup Series will be run. Now, next year, the race that we saw this weekend is getting moved to March, but he is still hopeful that in the very near future, you see the finale for Homestead, or the finale come to Homestead. So, just keep an eye on Homestead. If you haven't been down there yet, you may want to take a trip sometime. Hospitality, just fantastic. We thank everybody that was just really good to us down there. We really had an enjoyable time, not only at the racetrack, but also at just everywhere. Everybody was personable. Everybody enjoyed having us there and opened their arms to us. So we had a good time. And that's why I got the hat, the shirt, and I got some other stuff that you'll maybe see on a future show, but I'm going to take the hat off. My pineapple hat. It's kind of cool. And that was from the health folks down there that were doing health screenings for cancer. It's kind of cool. I got one myself, so I appreciate their doing that. And they actually sponsored I believe it was Saturday's Xfinity race. We were only there for the NASCAR Cup race, but I believe they sponsored the next Xfinity race. So, and John is now with us. So we're going to talk with John, and John going to give us his update on the Great Lakes Dragaway. Now, I tried to bring some warm weather back. I'm hearing rumors that today, Wednesday, is supposed to be kind of nice up here, and maybe even possibly Thursday. So does that mean, even though we're the 1st of November, Great Lakes Dragaway is still going to be open?
Yeah, that's the like Randy says, we're going to play it by ear to see what the weather's like. If the weather is conducive to do that, absolutely. We'll try to open it up and keep it going. They're in through November like that. He had said before, a lot of times we'd have a rotten October and they'd open it up in November because we get a nice warm day. So yeah, if we can keep some of this warm weather going and keep the severe weather away, it'll be the last of the Battle of the Sexes. With so far, Kristen is taking the lead. The women are ahead one race, so best the men can do tonight is tie it up, but we'll see what happens. If the weather holds up and we don't get rained on, we'll be good. And like I say, that just having this warm weather is really nice. Randy had also talked about that last Friday. He opened up a little bit earlier at 2:00 because before the track starts cooling off and going away, let some people get in there a little bit earlier and get some time, races in before the track temperature drops.
Well, and it was kind of funny. You talk about track temperatures and that. Even down at Homestead, watching the Cup race this last Sunday, when we first got to the track, it was quite breezy, quite windy, but it was still warm. It was in the mid 80s. Beautiful, October afternoon in southern Florida, and as the afternoon went along, shade would come into turns 1 and 2. Just because of the configuration of the track and where the sun was at. Okay. The sun was still shining brightly up into 3 and 4 and along most of the straightaways. Well, what I noticed in particular was Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson, even when we saw him speak in the morning, he said, I'm going to go run here at Homestead. You got to run next to the wall. And he said, if you're going to have any success, you go run next to the wall. And he says, when I say next to the wall, I mean about 3 inches off of it. And, and so I'm watching him run and he's going by and I noticed as that shade started coming into 1 and 2, I mean, he had a mishap very early in the race with the flat tire that sent him way to the back of the pack, but he was coming and he was really coming and he was closing in on people in 1 and 2 in the shade. So is that sometimes what can affect? I mean, you've got the heat of the afternoon earlier when the whole track was in sunlight. And then now all of a sudden you got one end that's in shade and one end that's still in sunlight. Does that ever come into play up there at Great Lakes?
Not too much there as far as the sun and the shade, but what you really got to start to watch is, in the evening when the dew starts to come off the field, sometimes the dew will start to make the track a little bit sketchier, more so near the big end versus a starting line there. Now with the solar farm next to us, that's going to probably be pretty consistent, but that doesn't go all the way down the track. There's another field that's near the big end of the track, near the finish line there, and that's still farm field. But now that the crops are kind of getting out of there, there's still this time of year right now, it's pretty much the temperature. Last Thursday we were out there and got out there at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and the track was working really, really well. But then about 8:30, 9 o'clock, the temperature was really starting to drop then. And then the high horsepower cars were having a little issue, knocking the tires off because it's just the heat isn't there and the track just isn't as sticky, isn't as good.
Does it also affect the tires themselves? I mean, Kathy was asking me a few times yesterday while we were watching, the Cup cars, she's like, well, how come they only ran like 5 laps and they're coming in because there's a yellow and they're already changing tires? And, that's really a good question.
Yeah, really not too much other than, there's different prep for the different type of tires, like the drag radial tires, a lot of those. They like a lot of glue and they'll do a different track prep where that track will be where you walk out of your shoes, where the cars that run more of a slick, just a regular bias pie slick, they don't need it as sticky like that. And they rely on a little bit of wheel speed when they first take off, maybe a revolution and a half or so to when they take off. So they spin just a little bit, but it's tough sometimes when you're running both types of cars. If you're trying to run a big tire slick on a track that was prepped for a drag radial, it's really, really sticky and they'll start to shake the tires, which is bad. But as far as the tires itself, not too much because everybody will do their burnout Burnout's a little bit different for a drag radial versus a slick, but everybody will do their burnout and get the tires heated up. So that part doesn't make too much of a difference as far as the temperature wise, but it's more so the track and how the glue reacts with it.
Now we've still got the Battle of the Sexes, planned for tonight, Wednesday
Last
night.
one.
The last one. Ladies get in free, and ladies get to race for free. And then maybe we'll see what we can work out. Maybe we'll get one, whoever ends up the champion, or at least one of the reps or both of the reps to join us on a future show here during the quote off season. But after that, like we've talked about a lot, so much depends on Mother Nature, and if we end up having a nice November, which has happened. But also we could have snow. Yeah. You never know. So do you know what Randy has got planned right now?
Pretty much, I know that once they start to salt the roads, and if we get a lot of snow and they start to dump salt on the roads, that's usually when he calls it quits. Because a lot of people don't want to. A lot of people put their rigs away and you don't want to drive them, their trailers and toter homes and everything on the salty highways, which I get that. And, I think the best thing to do that I would say is, if it's a nice day, is kind of check out the Great Lakes Ragway Facebook page, because they might say, hey, it's going to be 75 degrees out and it's beautiful. We're going to maybe open up the track tonight if somebody wants to come out, or open up in the afternoon, kind of play it by ear that way. It's kind of flexible, able to do that. And it's like, he's done that before in the past, where there's been, like I say, a crappy October, but then November was pretty nice. And it's like, hey, we got a 70-degree day. Why not see if we got anybody that wants to come out? So see how that works.
And I know we should probably just get Randy on here at some point and ask the source directly, but any surprises, any new things we might see in 2025 at Great Lakes Ragway?
They're always working to try to get, different things in there, something new, something different on the venue. I know for sure, like we said, that Funny Car Chaos, they're going to have the finals there at Great Lakes Ragway next September, which is awesome. Have 40 or 50, funny cars there battling it out for the championship. That'll be really cool. I'm going to get with him now. He said he's got probably 3/4 of the schedule finalized for next year. So I'll get with them and see what we got going on there, if there's anything new. They do a lot of track rentals during the week too, which is pretty nice. A lot of different groups will come up there and do track rentals during the week, and we'll see what else we got going on. Same with the RC drag strip is going out there, and that's been a pretty good hit. That's pretty neat for those guys. But quick little electric cars, little dragsters, and that's pretty neat to see. But yeah, we'll see what else is going on. I don't know. There's been talk of some other things. I don't know if they've actually finalized other events that are in there. I'll have to get back with Randy and see what events they actually have a contract with, but we'll keep you informed on that.
Well, then that's awesome. That's awesome. We've had a lot of fun having you on this year, and Kathy and I have had a lot of fun seeing you race this year. Yeah. So what about your own car? I know that, you're playing the weather a little bit, but I know you said you really wanted to tear your car down and get it all ready, winterized, so to speak, and get it ready for 2025. So what about your plans with your own car?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I just came in from working on mine now. So I need to freshen up the engine in mine. I've got like 225 passes on it, and pretty much all of those have been 8-second passes. Last pass I made with it last race that we had, I ran an 867, which is pretty good for that engine. But it needs rings. It needs piston rings. They're starting to get wore out a little bit. So what I did is I have a spare engine that I took out of my other car I had freshened that engine up, and I had not run it with the supercharger on it, with the blower on it. So I'm putting that in my car right now, and should be, we get the next, if it's nice this weekend, it'll be out, and I'll give it a test this weekend and see how it works with the spare engine in it, see how that plays out. In the meantime, I've got the go-to engine out of it. It's going to start getting tore apart here probably within the next couple of weeks. And I know luckily it's all in one piece. Nothing got grenaded. So hopefully it's just going to be a good rebuild, rings, bearings, valve springs, possibly get the lifters rebuilt, timing, chaining gear. Hopefully it'll be a not too expensive of a freshen up.
Now, most of this work, do you have to farm it out, or are you able to do some of it yourself?
Pretty much do everything myself, other than if I have to have the heads resurfaced or, anything like that. It'd have to be bored or resurfaced. That's something I don't do. I'll see my buddy Tony over there at Don's and have him resurface the heads and do some work for me. And that's probably, hopefully, like I say, I know for sure the heads are going to need a little resurface this time, but I can do the valves and I'm going to replace the valves, but I've got a valve seat grinder now, but I might have him just cut the valve seats while I resurface the head and get that done. And hopefully it won't need a bore job. Everything in there will be good, but we'll see when I get it apart.
There you go. There you go. Well, I know I always give you a chance to thank the folks that get you to the races each and every week. So I'm still going to do that tonight. So tell the folks who helps to get your Brew City Gassers machine to Great Lakes Dragway and other venues. I mean, you've been around the Midwest this year.
Yeah, we've been making quite a few races. I think we had 18 events and 15 races that we did this season, which it got to be quite a bit. But we like I say, Great Lakes Dragway, that's our home track, so we're there for quite a few of the races. And as far as sponsorships, unfortunately, our group, Brew City Gassers, we're pretty much just a club that get together and we race. But every once in a while, like certain races we'll go to, they may give us a gas fuel money to get there. Like a great race that we do in Nostalgia Drags. That's at Central Illinois Dragway. That's in Havana, Illinois. That's a great venue. We look forward to some of those races, but we're pretty much no sponsorships for us. Just, well, of course, I'm always looking for tire sponsors. I do some nice long burnouts with mine. So we're going to see what we can do with our group. We're going to see if we can get together and maybe do some group purchases, to try to save on a few things and say, hey, if, let's get everybody together. We've got over 50 members and say, hey, maybe 25 of us need slicks, and say, if we buy 25 sets of slicks, what can you guys do for, a price break? Something like that.
How many runs do you get out of a set of slicks? I mean, just like Kathy was talking to me, and she was totally amazed, watching all these pit stops that were taking place right across from us, and then going through these tires like they're water. And what about you guys? How long can your tires last?
Well, I'm guilty of doing really long burnouts. I don't have any front brakes on my car, so I got to do a rolling burnout. I do it in high gear, and I'll do some long ones. I've done some that I did burnout competition for longest burnouts, and I've done them past the 8th mile, 700 and some feet or so. But my tires, I usually get about I go through 2 sets in a season and a half. So I'm on my second set after about, I'll go through, put the first set on, go for a year, almost a little over a year. And then I got to put the second set on. So and they're about $300 a tire. So it's about $600 for a pair.
What, just out of curiosity on that, what brand of a tire do you use? I mean, in short track racing, you got mostly Hoosiers, pretty much. And of course, and when you watch the big boys on television, like we did this last weekend, it's pretty much Goodyear. Has got the lock there on NASCAR. What about in drag racing?
The ones that I use and a lot of us use are Mickey Thompson tires. A lot of the Mickey Thompson slicks. I use like a 29 by 10.5 W, which is 29.5 by 10.5 W, which is a little bit wider than 10.5 inches wide. 29.5 inches tall. That seems to be working really well for me. Some guys use Hoosier tires. Few use Goodyear. We were having trouble with supply chain stuff like everybody else was a while back, trying to even get tires, with the Mickey Thompson ones. But now that seems to have gone away where you can pretty much get tires now. That was an issue. Not anymore.
Okay, well, we're going to let you go. We got Nathan Crane trying to get on here, but he's actually called me on the phone, so we might go with him on the phone.
Okay.
So, John, always good talking to you. We'll be looking forward to a report. Right now, tentatively, we'll plan on next Wednesday. We'll touch base between now and then and kind of see what's up, and then kind of go from there. Obviously, we got Thanksgiving coming up, and the holidays coming up in December. So we may go to a once a month type deal, but
Sure.
we'll be in touch. We'll let you know.
Sounds good. Sounds good, Mike. Yeah, nice talking to you.
You too, John. Take care. God bless now. We'll see you. Bye-bye. All right. I think we've still got Nathan Crane on here. And Nathan, I'm going to try this because if you were not able, are you calling me because you were not able to get on the link?
That's correct, yes.
All right. Well, then let me turn you on speaker.
Perfect.
And then Kent's going to let me know somehow that this is working. We've done this before, so I think it'll work okay. Kent, are we doing all right? And you can poke your head in here, Kent, if you need to, or just let me know yes, no, maybe so.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, well, we're going to just start talking here, Nathan, and I'm sure if this is not working, the boss will let us know. And the boss just put up and I've been removed from the stream. So I don't know what's that's telling me. Well, not there. Are we okay or no?
Just need a little more volume and it's good to go.
All right, let me try to bring it up a little. All right, there it's max. Try it again there, Nathan.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
I think we got to be good now. All right. Yep, we're good. All righty. Well, we've got Nathan Crane joining us. And Nathan, you got a 5th annual event coming up this weekend on Saturday, November the 2nd. The 5th annual Midwest Racers event is actually what it's very uniquely called. And so tell the folks a little bit about what you've got going this Saturday up there in suburban Milwaukee.
Yeah, no, it's just a awesome get-together with all your race friends and maybe even some that you would love to talk to, but you don't get the chance because either you guys are in different heats or you're having a bad night or they're having a bad night. And it's just more to fellowship, have a good time, but then also there's always nice to have a little sprinkle of competitiveness and competition. And it actually originated from Tom Eller because some of the races long ago at Wilmot or whatever track, mainly Wilmot, but when we would get rained out, everyone's like, oh, not everybody, but more so Tom's like, oh, we should go to K1, but everyone wanted their haulers and stuff, and that nobody wanted to travel, again, hauling the race trailer and the trucks and diesels and all that. And one of the days, the races got canceled long before anybody even loaded up, so we ended up going to K1. I believe it was Veloce or Accelerate at the time, and we all had just an absolute blast. And so I was like, I wonder what would happen if we could plan it and how many people we could get. And it's grown ever since. First annual event we had 44 people. Second annual event we had 47. The third we had 47, and last year we had our record high at 55. And as of today, we have 61 prepaid racers. That's not including the people who are going to walk in the day of, and people who are still probably going to register throughout this week until the 2nd. So that's pretty much how it started, and it's just a dang good time. And yeah.
Well, I know we had Scott Carpenter and I had a lot of fun last year. We called it for you on a podcast, on a Facebook Live situation. And this year you've kind of taken that to the next level, and tell the folks a little bit about the media coverage that you're going to have this Saturday.
Yes, no. Every year we try to do it a little bit bigger and better. That's how you make something grow. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. This event, it's going to be on Badger Racing TV. There's a couple of other things that we are trying to work out that we might get it on a little bit more platforms, but right now it's for sure guaranteed on Badger Racing TV. And as per usual, we got the Powder Puff race, which is always the show. Everybody, while all the other races are going on, people are talking, eating, having a good time and kind of watching the races. But, man, when that Powder Puff race, when that flag drops, it is quiet for the first start. Then people just start screaming and cheering and oohs and ahs when the girls don't break when maybe they should. They just pile up on each other. It's a show for sure, and everybody has a good time. And the girls love it. They keep coming back year after year. And, like I said, we had a little bit of something each time, make it bigger and bigger. This year, we're going to continue the Powder Puffs because it's never disappointed. And we're going to continue with main winners advanced to the back of the tail of the next main. So for $150, you'll get 4 sessions minimum. You'll get 1 practice, 2 qualifyings, and a feature and a main, feature/main. If you win your main, you keep racing. So people always ask, well, how many races can I get? Well, it depends how many times you win your main. Then it's endless.
It's almost like drag racing, right? As long as you keep winning, you keep going.
Yes, exactly. Like I said, it's just a good time. It's a 6-hour ordeal, which that's plenty of time to talk to people and have a good time. But let me get back to what the 150 entry gets you. You'll get your 4 sessions, like I said, practice 2 qualifying to your feature. You're going to get unlimited food from Illuminati's Pizzeria, along with drinks. That'll be pop, soda, Gatorade, water, you name it. You'll get $1,000. No, you won't get $1,000.
I was going to say, that's a pretty good deal. 150 gets you $1,000?
There's $1,000 cash raffle prizes. We divide that 1,000 up by a certain amount. I haven't figured that out. But then when you get there as a racer, you go pick your bingo ball, 1 through 75, whatever is left, because it's a first come, first served.
Mm-hmm.
And before the mains, as they're figuring out, where everyone belongs based off qualifying, to kill some time, we raffle off the prizes, the Jacks and Rouge helmet. That is the number 1 prize. You get a Rouge helmet with a Jack, Ashbach, Jack's helmet designs, paint job, all included if your bingo ball is picked. And then following the Jacks and Rouge helmet is cash prizes, along with, like I said, you're going to get unlimited food and drinks. And then on top of all that, cherry on top, you're going to be on TV, and you can get to show all your friends whether you've raced or never raced. That's the beauty of this event is we don't discriminate. So anybody and everybody's welcomed. Your crew guys, your family, your cousins, some fans. Let's say there's a regular fan that's, we love our fans. And you always got that one that's like, oh, let me hop in it. Or, I could beat you if I had one of these things. And now you get to invite them and welcome them out and show them what really racing's about.
Yep, that's for sure. And it was a lot of fun last year. And I had a great time. And I don't think I ever let Scott hold them, but I liked babysitting last year.
Yes, my little boy Cooper. Absolutely. Got some awesome pictures of you guys last year.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Well, this year, and I'm unfortunately going to be over. Well, in some ways, fortunately, but unfortunately, I'm going to be over at the Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame. Their induction is also Saturday. Starts at 6:00 over there at Hartford. Now that's usually done about 9. I haven't Googled it or MapQuested it, so I don't know if anybody could make it from Hartford and get over to your event before midnight.
I'm sure they could, especially if they got that pedal to the metal, But, like you were just saying, our event, we're going to have people show up at 5 p.m., but the first technical practice session starts at 6. We're going to be there till midnight, which will be the last main of the night. So anybody who is done watching the Hall of Fame, and they, you want to come on and watch it. If you want to watch it in person, come on over. They'll let you in. You can come on and watch it. If you're in the opposite direction or whatever, pull up Badger Racing TV, and you can watch the whole event from their broadcast either the following day or 9 o'clock is probably when we're actually going to start our mains or whatever. And right now we are going to be in a G main, which is that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome.
Well, that's pretty cool. And I know Lauren Kelly is going to be your main announcer. And do you have somebody working with him again on Saturday?
Yes. So Lauren Kelly, yes, will be broadcasting and announcing, and he's going to have a co-host because Lauren Kelly is also racing. So when it's his turn to jump on in the cart, we're going to have Tyler Tinchendorf go on over and help him out, co-host, and take care of that while Lauren Kelly's on the track. And then Tyler can either sit tight, which everybody loves Tyler, so how could you not? But he can either sit tight and co-host some more, or he can go off and enjoy more food and drinks and whatever comes apart. Very important part that I left out is spectators are free, so don't feel that if you wanted to come watch, you got to pay something. Everything's free at the door. If you do want to eat food or drink, it's $1 an item, or you can just pay $10. You can have unlimited food and drinks. That's up to the person. But not everybody adores pizza like I do. So there is Point Burger next door. If pizza's not hitting the spot for you, you can go on over there and have yourself some good burgers and alcoholic beverages if you'd like, and then just come back over and watch the chaoticness of racers doing what they do best.
Are there any big names? Of course, every racer thinks that they're a big name, but are there any champions that are coming? Any drivers from somebody that might be seen on national TV from time to time or something like that might be coming into race?
So I have not had any confirmation because there is. To answer your question, yes, there are some actual big names that. Possibly, they didn't promise me because obviously they can't. They got a lot of stuff going on with their ending in their championships and series and whatnot. But on top of that, when you're at that level and you've been racing for 8 months, 9 months, you might not want to do racing activity. So, but yes, to answer your question, there are some big names. They will give me a more definite answer as we get probably this coming Friday or Saturday morning. They'll let me know, and then I'll save their slot in the event. But yeah, so we'll see. I don't want to name drop just in case if they don't show up. But if some of these drivers show up, it's going to be pretty cool.
Well, and I know that there's a lot of folks that help you put on this event. I just saw one today. And he actually asked me if I was going to make it up, and I said no, I'd be over at the Hall of Fame. Mark Maglio of Bodycraft, I know you just picked them up as a sponsor, a partner for you. Folks that you want to thank that are helping you put on this event on Saturday.
Yeah, it's almost endless. But we're going to start off with the manager at K1, Noel from K1 Speed Waukesha. I've been working with her for the past 4th annual events, and we finally got the super track. And again, that's something else that I forgot to. We usually rent one side or the other side. It's still open to the public, but this event is closed to the public. Anybody's welcome, but you can't just show up and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and race it from 7 to 7:30, because obviously that won't be happening because the event will be going on. But it's closed to the public, but anybody's welcome. And we got the super track, so we got the whole entire facility. So yeah, I got to thank Noelle for partnering with us and really helping. She's the one who sealed the deal with the super track. That's huge because this will be the 5th. I've tried to get the super track, but it's just been way too much out of price for us because obviously everything needs to be up front. But they ended up making us a deal, and so we're very thankful for that. But K1 Speed Waukesha, Jack's Helmet Designs, Johnny Z's Poorhouse, Super Shocks, 10B Graphics, MLS Auto Clinic, Bodycraft Inc., Sundance Saloon, Rouge Helmets, Miller Motors Sales, and Crane Racing and the Bench Racing Podcast, along with this was a separate generous gifts from Amy Schultz and Johnson Motorsports. They added some extra money into this event, and so a few lucky people are going to get some. I can't say the denomination yet, but they're going to get lucky with a little extra money in their pockets. So that's always nice. But yeah, those are the sponsors for this year, and yeah, just without them, I could not do this because I can only fork out so much of my own money, and hopefully that enough people show up that everything's kosher and that I'm not in the red. But without the sponsors, I could not keep doing this over and over and over again. So huge thanks to all those sponsors again.
Well, Nathan, I know you're going to have a lot of fun. I know everybody that's going to be there is going to have a lot of fun. We'll see how the evening goes over in Hartford if Kathy and I are able to swing by on the way home, but we'll see what happens. Again, congratulations on a great event. I know, I can congratulate you now because I know it's going to be super on Saturday. And
yes, we have 6. I don't know if I said it earlier on in this segment, but we have 61 drivers as of right now, and where our prediction is probably going to be 70 to 80 drivers, and that's going to be huge.
Okay, and now where if they want to sign up before Saturday, where do they go? How do they do it?
That's great. Actually, they're going to go on Facebook and find me, Nathan Crane. My stuff's on public, so even if you're not friends with me on Facebook, I'll still see it. You'll still see the 5th Annual Midwest Racers. You'll click the page. It'll tell you all the information, where the payments go to, what payment options you can do. Preferably, you pay before the event only because there is a cutoff of racers because we reserved the time for 6 hours, and we're only allowed a certain amount of races in those 6 hours. So if you want to guarantee yourself into this event, definitely prepay, which if you click the event page, it'll give you all the information. There's no sense in me going over all that to bore you guys with all the options and whatnot, but just click the 5th Annual Midwest Racers events and read all the information, so on and so forth. You can, however, show up the day of if you want to. Again, I get it. Everybody's busy. You don't want to pay for something and not 100% know if you can go to it or not. Mm-hmm. So I get it. No harm, no foul. If we don't hit our cutoff, absolutely. We'll tag you right in. Everything's good and kosher. But if we do hit our limit, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. Unless some people who have paid end up not going, then we'll have a little queue line of first come, first serve, and then they can jump on in. So.
All righty. Well, again, glad we were able to work. We've been trying to work this out for like a month. Yes. And I'm glad we finally were able to do it, and wish you well on Saturday, and maybe we'll see you on Saturday night.
I hope so, and I hope you enjoy the Hall of Famer inductees.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nathan. Take care.
Thanks,
bye-bye. That was Nathan Crane joining us, and again, check him out. 5th Annual Midwest Racers event is an event, and that's going to be this Saturday. Check it out on Nathan Crane's Facebook page, and you can still get in it or go up there and just enjoy some racing. Well, we're bringing into our studio now Adam Taylor, joining us from Wheatfield, I believe. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Otherwise, he'll correct me. Wheatfield, yep. Indiana. Adam, welcome to the program. Glad to have you joining us. Again, we've been trying to get connected for a couple of weeks now. After the performance you did at the dirt track at Route 66 was just, you raised a lot of eyebrows. A lot of folks were very, very impressed with the show that you put on. Only your second time ever in a wingless sprint car. Is this correct?
Yeah, so Friday night was my first time in a wingless sprint car, and unfortunately we had a mishap on like lap 2 and had some contact made and had to start in the back and came back, finished 7th. But yeah, Saturday night was second night in the car, and the Dohertys and everybody that helps them out. They gave me a great car, and if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't change anything that happened.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I mean, you started 8th in the feature on Saturday night, and you came up, and just like you and I talked in Victory Lane, I mean, the guy you caught and beat for the win, Chris Klemko, the track champion, the regular season track champion at Wilmot, a 2-time Wilmot champion, and he was trying to win his first feature of the year, ironically enough, and really looked like he was going to be tough to beat. He had a pretty big lead for a while and was rim riding around pretty strong, and then you kind of reeled him in, and the two of you put on a great show in the closing laps.
Yeah, I mean, I could see, when I was running like second and third, like he was running the bottom and he was solid and he wasn't making any mistakes. And once I caught him, I followed him for like a lap or two. And again, I saw he wasn't making any mistakes. So I knew I had to figure something else out to get around him besides running around the bottom. And I sent in into 3 on kind of the middle of the track, and it stuck, and got around him, and just, I kind of saw him going down the front straightaway there for a minute. By the time we got into 1, I didn't see him, so I just went back to the bottom, and it paid off. Like I said, the Dohertys, Mike Wallace, and everybody, they gave me an amazing car. I don't, if I could change anything, I don't know what it would be.
Yeah, I know, and again, when we were talking in Victory Lane, you mentioned that you got a phone call on Wednesday. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Tell us a little bit about the phone call and how the whole deal kind of came together.
Well, so I had driven for the Dohertys and Horizon Carpentry a couple times throughout the year on the midget side of stuff with Badger. And had some bad luck with the motors and stuff, and we ran like 25 laps and went through 3 motors. So needless to say, it was a bad half last of the year. And they had mentioned something about running a sprint car here or there a couple times, and nothing really came about it, and it just kind of, it was what it was, and so the midget season ended with me running the BC39 in my car. And then, that was, I think, like the first or second week of September, the first weekend of September. And once that was over, I was just kind of like, all right, my season's done. And then, a couple Wednesdays ago, I was sitting on the couch just kind of relaxing for the night. And Frank Doherty, Miles' dad, gave me a call and was like, you want to run a sprint car on Friday and Saturday at Joliet? And I was like, yeah, I'm down for it. Like, I've never done it, but it's only an hour and a half from the house. I'll give it a shot. What's worse that could happen? I was honestly, if I could finish, top 10 both nights, I would have been happy. No way would I have ever thought of the second night in the car getting a win and winning the heat race and being 5,000s off the track record. Would have never thought it. But again, I can't thank all those guys enough for the opportunity that they gave me.
Well, I'll tell you, like I said, you did a great job. Had you ever seen Joliet before, or was this your first time even on the track?
So, like back in 2017 and 18, the Power I Midget Series had a D2 Midget Series, and I ran with them there. And then in 2017, I think it was, I ran my D2 midget with the USAC National midgets there. Obviously being under horsepower, but at the time it was a 20-minute drive for me. But so yeah, I have had some laps on the track, but nothing in that big of a car, essentially, with that much power. So I mean, it was a learning experience all over again, but it was an awesome time.
Well, it was interesting too, because I mean, just like you've been listening to the show tonight, and we were talking some about even the NASCAR race at Homestead, how the track changes with the sun and that and the heat, and even talking about drag racing, how it can change, for the tires and that, and with the temperatures changing. Joliet was interesting on Friday night. It got chilly. It got cold. They even shortened the World of Outlaw feature because of concerns about fuel consumption. And then Saturday, it was warmer. It was still a little breezy, but it was a little bit warmer. And they actually, Friday night, they only went 25 laps in the World of Outlaw feature. Saturday night, I believe they went 35, if I recall correctly. And what about for you in a wingless car? Did you tell the difference in how the car was running from Friday to Saturday with the difference in the temperatures and the air?
Performance wise, I couldn't tell a big difference in the motor, but in the track, I could tell the big difference. Whereas like Friday night, even though it was a lot cooler, temperature wise, the track dried out a lot more. Where Saturday night it was kind of tacky through hot laps and the heat races. By the time the features came, it had started drying out a little bit, but it wasn't like it was Friday night. It still had moisture down around the bottom, and it wasn't just right on the tires. You could run kind of like a lane and a half up and still be good to go. But power wise, I couldn't tell much of a difference. It seemed like the tires on Saturday night stayed a lot more consistent than they did Friday night. And that just might be because of the track holding up a little bit better. It didn't dry out so much and almost take rubber.
Now, you mentioned a lot of your experience has been in the midgets, and that again, a lot of folks, this is the first time they're really getting to meet you through the show here. Tell the folks a little bit about your racing background, how you got started, and what you've been doing, and what your plans are in 2025.
So I started racing go-karts when I was 6, and I'll be 36 tomorrow.
Well, early happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you. I've raced go-karts, Allison Legacy car, an asphalt late model. Got back in go-karts, and then in like 2015, I think it was, I started racing asphalt midgets. And then at the end of 2015, kind of started going over to the dirt side when somebody gave me an opportunity to go run their car. And then 2017, I won the track championship at 34 Raceway in Burlington, Iowa. And then most recently last year, I won the Badger Midget Championship with Jones Spray Racing in the number 5X car. And then this year, it's like I said, this year unfortunately was a rough year for all the teams I drove for, unfortunately. the Jones Brays and Doherty and everybody. It's on the midget side. It was a rough year motor wise, but it's part of racing, and we're looking forward to getting back to it next year and starting off strong. So we're planning on running midget stuff again next year with Badger, and still talking with the Dohertys to try and get some more possible rides in a sprint car. We've even looked at buying a Wisconsin wingless car for next year. So everything's still kind of open on the wingless sprint car side, but the midget side, you'll see us run again a lot with Badger next year. And then, like I said, hopefully some wingless stuff.
Well, of course, Badger's home track is Angel Park, and then they also run some shows at Sycamore, and they usually have a traditional stop at Wilmot.
Yep.
And of course, Wilmot also the home track basically for the Wisconsin wingless sprints. So how does Wilmot, for example, how does that track compare to some of the other different tracks? What ones are similar maybe, and what are just completely different?
Well, I mean, on the Badger schedule, they've got a good mixture of tracks, honestly, because like Wilmot, for us, when I've been there, and I've won there one time, it was kind of just right down around the bottom, keep the car straight, and the sooner you can get on the gas and drive it off turn, the better off you are. Angel Park or Sycamore, for me, you put it up on the fence and just hold it wide open and have a good time and let it go. Like that's my deal at Sycamore. Like if it's around the bottom, it's no. I mean, I can do it, but it's no fun. Like I'd rather be up on the fence there and getting after it. Angel Park, it's one of those just iconic tracks to where the harder you drive it, the faster you're gonna go. I mean, it doesn't mean it doesn't matter if it's on the bottom around the tires or if it's up on the wall. The harder you drive it, the faster you're gonna go and the better you're gonna be. And that's one place that, especially over the last couple of years, that I've learned to really like a lot. And it's for for me as a driver, it's the drivability of the track, but it's also the history of the track. Mm-hmm. You start winning races so far I'm the only person that's ever won the KO Classic there. But then you go and win the Corn Fest, and you go win, all the other big races there. It's one of those things you're like, man, there's not too many other people that's done this. And it really, Angel Park does hold a special place in my heart. I mean, any chance I get to go race there, I'm going to go race. It doesn't matter what it's in.
Any thoughts about getting into a wing car?
I've thought about it, and I haven't had the opportunity to do it. If that opportunity were to present itself, I would jump in one in a heartbeat. If it was a 360 or 410, whatever, I would jump in one in a heartbeat.
Well, you never know who might be tuning into the show, because it's funny. There's even on the short track, front. There's a silly season going on right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's people that run a weekly show somewhere, or mainly a weekly show, and all of a sudden, there's driver changes, and that happens. So yeah, you never know. Somebody might pick up. You might get another phone call.
Hey, that'd be great. I mean, put my name out there. I'll jump in anything.
There you go. Well, and before we run out of time here, I'd like to find out for the folks out there, what does Adam Taylor do when he's not driving a race car?
So I work for a company. It's called Gertz Industries in Monticello, Indiana. And I am a group lead for the test cell division. And we test generators for Caterpillar. Now, when I say generators, I mean they're either 12, 16, or 20 cylinder diesel generators. So like they take up a whole 53-foot semi trailer. They're made for backup generators for like airports or military bases or big industrial complexes or whatever. But before that, I was a welder for 12 years, and I got this opportunity to do a job change, and it came with a little bit of promotion. So I jumped on it, and I've liked it. It's been a good learning opportunity. Learned a lot of stuff that I never thought I would have learned.
Mm-hmm.
Still get to do a little bit of welding here and there, but it's been a good time.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I always like to let any driver that I have on thank the folks that get them to the racetrack, thank sponsors. So this is your shot now. You got your chance to thank those folks.
So first off, as far as the sprint car side goes, Doherty's, Mike Wallace, Mongo Cranes, Horizon Carpentry, anybody that helps them get to the track and provide me with the car that they did a couple weeks ago, I appreciate it. On the midget side, Aaron Jones, Dennis Jones, Larry Spray, and anybody that helps them. I mean, it's been a heck of a year, and everybody stuck by me through it all. So just anybody that has helped any of the car owners that I have driven for this year, get them and me to the track, I can't thank them enough.
Well, there you go. Well, and I know when we were getting ready to get on today, you've got an iRacing set up there at your house. And how much do you use that? And I mean, are there any tracks that folks would know that tune in that you're able to race on your iRacing?
So, I mean, on iRacing, as far as the dirt side goes, I mean, you got your Kokomo, Lawrenceburg. Oh man, there's a bunch of dirt tracks on there now, but it's more of just getting back behind the wheel and getting your hand-eye coordination and keeping that consistent, whether it's behind a micro or 410 sprint car, a late model, whatever it is, just something to help you keep your hand-eye coordination going. It does make a difference. People might not think it does, but it for me it does. It's just something to keep me going,
All righty. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm glad we were able to work this out. Again, it was just, I had a great time. Garrett and I did calling your feature win down there at Joliet. And I hope we do see you in a Wisconsin wingless from time to time up at Wilmot and other area tracks. And I know we'll see you with the Badger Midgets too. And who knows, maybe we'll see you in a 410, because, Wilmot, you talk about history of a racetrack. Wilmot is where the IRA was born. And there's a lot of history at Wilmot. So hopefully that wouldn't be a bad place to run a 410 wing car. I can tell you that.
Yeah, like I said, I'm open to any opportunity that comes about. I'm not going to turn anything down. So.
All right. Well, thanks again, Adam. You have a great winter time. Best to you for the holidays, and we'll look forward to seeing you in 2025.
All right. Thank you again for having me on.
All right. Take care now. God bless.
All right.
And that was Adam Taylor joining us from Indiana. That's going to wrap it up for this week's show. We will be having another show maybe next week, maybe in a couple weeks. we'll work it out. So just stay tuned and you'll find out. And we'll let you know on our Facebook pages and that. So until we see you next time, this is Mike Babicz wishing you a pleasant evening, the best of tomorrows. Remember, kids, just say no to drugs. Thanks. Good night. God bless. And let's go racing, everybody.